Hello, everyone, and welcome to Community Spotlight. My name is Michael Kramer with Hypecats Video Producers, and this is an educational series designed to educate and inspire. So we hope that happens. Today's topic is, should you use TurboTax to prepare your taxes? There are pros and cons out of each, using TurboTax or not using TurboTax, and it's gotten complicated, taxes are. So we really want to better understand what the tool is and who it's really designed for, and then when should you consider something else. So I've asked a friend and a professional colleague of mine, Paul Mocker, to join us. Paul, welcome to the stage. Good to see you. Happy to have you on the program. Yeah.
Well, thanks for inviting me. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Now, you are a CPA, so you are an expert in tax preparation, so you understand this subject probably better than anyone. And we did have a discussion about TurboTax, and I know that there is a place for TurboTax. So first of all, what is it?
Well, TurboTax is one of the most popular tax software products available in the US right now. It's made by Intuit. It's a national firm, and Intuit also makes the popular accounting software QuickBooks. TurboTax is a market leader in that product segment. They compete with H&R Block, Tax Software, TaxAct, and eFile.com.
All right. So now that we know who owns it and what other competing products there are, what does it cost? I mean, that's what always people want to know. How much does it cost to prepare taxes with a professional versus TurboTax? So what does TurboTax cost?
Well, they have 4 do-it-yourself packages. Those cost between 0, free, and $119 for federal returns, plus an extra $54 for state tax returns. But the more complex your situation, the more expensive it will be. If you choose to have an expert help you, then the price jumps to $79 to $199. Full service, where an expert prepares your returns, costs $199 for basic and $389 for self-employed folks, with still the additional cost for state tax returns starting at $54. The free version was once very hard to find, but it's now available. It now supports many types of income, such as W-2, unemployment, the earned income tax credit, and the child tax credit. And all enlisted active duty military and reservists can file for free.
Oh, excellent. Excellent. So, um, you know, people that are W-2, it seems like they would be the easiest to prepare a tax return for, but maybe you're a sole proprietor and you have a 1099, or you're like me, you have a small business and you have employees. Maybe it applies more toward the first two. So how long would it take for someone, an individual on a W-2 or maybe a small self-proprietary business, to prepare taxes using TurboTax?
Yeah, there's a wide range of taxpayers, aren't there, from the W-2 to the self-employed, but I haven't used TurboTax personally for over 25 years. But friends and current clients I've spoken with tell me that the typical tax return ranges from 2 to 5 hours. People with 1 or 2 W-2 forms and no itemized deductions will likely spend about 90 minutes from the account setup to answering the questions to reviewing the output to overseeing the electronic filing. But people with deductions such as mortgage interest, real estate taxes will probably take an hour longer. Then you've got self-employed taxpayers, people with rental properties, and people with investments such as stocks or cryptocurrencies. They're looking at about 4 hours minimum. Now, the nice feature is a direct upload of stock sales and the W-2 into TurboTax. And if you've got a lot of stock sales, you'll definitely save time with that direct upload feature.
Well, excellent. Excellent. You know, for me, tax is like a foreign language. You know, depreciation
Yes.
and different styles of techniques of depreciation, and when do you depreciate versus when do you just write something off? What are the guidelines for that kind of thing? So, you know, I have for years. I used to use TurboTax, and I don't anymore, but I used to, and I would run into these terms, and then it would be like, oh my God, I have to learn what an accumulated depreciation chart is or scale or something. Like, oh, I just want to do my taxes. I don't want to learn tax code. So how
Right.
complicated is it to understand the tax law, use even with a guided system like TurboTax?
Well, There is a lot of tax jargon out there that can make your head spin, but in generally, TurboTax is not complicated. It guides taxpayers with yes or no questions and offers tips along the way from experts, as mentioned before, to simple answers that are very helpful. They rarely use that tax lingo that we don't want. You won't do a deep dive into that murky world of taxes, but you will spend time learning to navigate that product from how do I get from my account to the finished tax return? How do I get from this question to the next area? So there's more navigation than there is, delving into taxes.
Yeah. All right. So people want to know, and I think that's why people use tools like TurboTax. Can I save money? So the can I save money maybe is a part of two-part. Maybe can I save money by not having a professional, like someone like you or an H&R Block or some tax preparer do the tax returns, or will TurboTax help me to save taxes? Right? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
they're supposed to have all the guidelines in there, and it's supposed to catch every little nuance of anything that you do. So, can TurboTax help me save tax dollars?
Well, the short answer is maybe. So saving taxes is important, and of course, it's what everyone aspires to do, but it isn't the entire point. Instead, I like to think of it this way. You want to accurately report and pay taxes only on what you're required to pay taxes on. So you want to reduce errors and take full advantage of all the tax provisions that apply to you. In general, you want to avoid overpaying, which is not the same thing as saving. Okay, using software helps you avoid costly mistakes and thus avoid overpaying. But compared to preparing your tax return yourself, the old way without software, you will feel very confident with TurboTax. The opposite side here is that tax practitioners like myself and my community have noticed that TurboTax's question-based system and artificial intelligence may not spot all relevant tax requirements, especially for some folks here in California, and it may not spot all opportunities to save money. The more complicated your tax picture, the more chances for error.
Well, that's good because you just baited me for the next question. So my next question is, when would it be better? At what point is there tipping scale when you feel like your taxes are complicated enough that you really should be seeking more professional services to help you do that tax
Mhm.
preparation to give you some guidance? Because from what I understand, there's tax law, and you fill in all the fields, you should be able to get a result. But
Mhm.
then there's also like critical thinking, there's strategy involved, of like when you depreciate something versus expense it all at the same time. And I'm sure there are other things too. Or when should you buy a car? Should you buy a car this year or next year? Is your income going to be less this year than next year? So should you save onto your bigger income, push it into next? I mean,
Mhm.
there's all kind of strategy. So at what point do you think people should really consider moving from TurboTax to a professional?
It's a very good question, Michael. And it really points to what I've been hearing from folks, which is I just don't want to do it anymore. It's become complicated, and I moved to you because I don't want to know it or try to figure it out. My answer to that is one that usually feels annoying to people. It depends. There are good reasons to hire a professional and good reasons for choosing tax software. The software is an option for those on a budget, and it's fine, accurate, and complete for simple returns. But when judgment is needed, because the tax laws are often unclear and there are gray areas in the laws, this is more art than science many times. If you're self-employed, when you want someone to become familiar with you and your family's personal financial picture, when that artificial intelligence just doesn't feel right, or you want a personal relationship to develop long-term trust, then Michael, I really advise seeking a certified public accountant or enrolled agent in our area or your area.
Well, so now I'm really confused because I really want to save money by using tax software, and and I
Right.
really want the guidance of a professional. Is there any way to like get both?
There is a way. There is a way. And it pops up every once in a while. It's still very rare in my experience. only about 2 or 3 times in my career of 25 years have I sat with taxpayers as they use TurboTax. TurboTax really is a DIY. There are folks that want to build their own chicken coop or build their own house, and those folks are fine. So if you really need to use TurboTax but are uncertain about the tax result it gives you, or want to know how to handle those complicated tax situations like with a K-1 or a rental, then I really advise hiring a tax professional at least to review your work. Print that out, take it to the tax professional, and maybe pay for an hour or a half hour of that time. And I think that's the hybrid situation that I would advise. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, in summary, there's a place for both TurboTax and professional, and maybe a combination of both if you fall kind of right in the middle. Because I know as I went from just an individual in a small company into a larger company, I really, like you said, I was starting to feel uncomfortable preparing my own taxes. And so I hope that this program today has been educational and inspirational for people that are on the fence trying to decide what to do between the two. And so, Paul, if for some reason there's a question that we did not cover, or there's an extended question on something that we did cover and someone wants to ask you that question, how do they get a hold of you?
Well, I'm great. I feel happy and comfortable taking questions. I have a website, paulmocker.com. You can reach me there, and it's got a little email feature for reaching me. Thanks, Michael. Yeah.
All right, thank you for coming on the program today, Paul. Really appreciate your time. And for
You're
everyone
welcome.
out there, thank you for watching, and I hope that you got educated and inspired. And because that's the goal, do you do TurboTax, some hybrid, or do you really need someone that can guide you through the process and that's more appropriate for you? So until next time on Community Spotlight, my name is Michael Kramer with Hypecats Video Producers. See you next time.